Forget everything you've been taught about the origins of science. Forget the dusty European laboratories, the bearded men scribbling in secret. Forget the myth of turning lead into gold. Because the real story of transformation, the true heart of alchemy, didn't begin there. It began here, in Africa, in a land where fire was not just heat, metal was not just metal, and knowledge was never separated from spirit. For thousands of years, Africans were mastering matter, medicine, and the soul, in ways the world only now begins to recognize. What if the secrets to transforming reality, from healing the body to shaping metal, weren't hidden in medieval texts, but preserved in living traditions across this continent? Today, we open a door most of the world never knew existed, a door into Africa's lost science. This is not a story of myth. This is not fantasy. This is the science of transformation as it was first understood. The word alchemy itself whispers of Africa. Derived from alchemia, it traces back to Kemet, the ancient Egyptian name for the Black Land. Even the term silently points home. Yet, the Western narrative often ignores its origin. African alchemy was never just a single practice. It was a synthesis of disciplines: metallurgy, medicine, spiritual philosophy, and astronomy. From the Yoruba concept of ASE, the intrinsic force that makes things happen, to the Ndembu understanding of balance between the seen and unseen, African science integrated the tangible and the metaphysical. For too long, outsiders dismissed these practices as superstition. But when elders could identify plants, measure their potency, and combine them to produce reliable healing effects, that was chemistry. And when smiths manipulated fire to create precise alloys, that was advanced metallurgy. Consider the Nok civilization in Nigeria, 500 BCE. They mastered iron smelting long before Europe entered the Iron Age. Archaeological evidence in the Great Lakes region, Tanzania, Rwanda, shows furnaces designed to maintain over 1,300 degrees Celsius, producing high-carbon steel centuries before Europeans could. Even the ancients understood principles that would later define chemistry: control of temperature, material composition, and the reactions of natural elements. African alchemists were experimenters and philosophers, observing, recording, and refining their methods over generations. Science in Africa was holistic. Healing, metallurgy, ritual, and education were intertwined. Knowledge was preserved orally, symbolically, and ceremonially, not for secrecy alone, but as a living, evolving tradition. In Africa, the smith was sacred. Not just a worker, but a guardian of fire, a keeper of knowledge, and a philosopher. Every hammer strike on molten metal was both material and spiritual transformation. The Benin bronzes, the gold weights of the Ashanti, and the Nok terracottas are not mere artifacts. They are proof of empirical science in a pre-modern world. Consider alloys. African artisans blended copper, tin, and zinc with precise proportions to achieve desired colors, durability, and textures. The lost wax casting method, requiring heat management, material understanding, and perfect timing, demonstrates a deep grasp of chemical and physical processes. And this mastery extended beyond metals. African alchemy embraced medicine and chemistry. Plants were measured, combined, and extracted to heal bodies and minds. Some compounds used centuries ago are only now being validated by modern pharmacology. Yet the process of transformation wasn't purely external. It was internal. The refining of metal mirrored the refining of self. Ignorance and base nature were seen as the lead to be transmuted into the gold of wisdom, discipline, and enlightenment. The Mganga, the Babalawo, the herbalist, they were both chemists and philosophers, blending practical skill with spiritual insight. Take a moment. Comment below the innovation that amazes you most so far, from metallurgy to medicinal chemistry. Your thoughts help guide our journey into Africa's hidden legacy. African knowledge did not stay confined to the continent. It flowed like rivers of wisdom, touching civilizations far beyond its borders. In Alexandria, the Hellenistic epicenter, African knowledge was codified. Scholars like Maria the Jewess built apparatuses for distillation and heating, inventions rooted in centuries of Egyptian and Nubian chemical practice. During the Islamic Golden Age, scholars like Jabir ibn Hayyan, the father of chemistry, built upon African foundations. They refined distillation, sublimation, and acid-base understanding, knowledge that would later feed Europe's scientific revolution. Even across the Atlantic, African science survived. Enslaved Africans brought botanical knowledge, metallurgy, and spiritual science to the New World. Healing rituals became methods of survival, coded knowledge became a form of resistance, and cultural practices preserved science hidden in plain sight. African alchemy wasn't just technical. It was resilient, adaptive, and global. Today, the legacy continues. The elders who can identify hundreds of medicinal plants. The metallurgists reviving ancient casting methods. The scientists proving that indigenous knowledge was never primitive. Yet this living library is under threat. Colonialism attempted to erase it. Globalization and intellectual theft continue to endanger Africa's knowledge. But a powerful resurgence is underway. Universities in Ghana, Nigeria, Ethiopia, and South Africa are documenting traditional practices. Communities are preserving medicinal plants, rituals, and metallurgy techniques. Modern architecture, sustainable agriculture, and chemistry increasingly draw inspiration from African wisdom. The philosophy of African alchemy, transformation as a holistic, community-oriented practice, is exactly what the modern world needs. Reclaiming African science isn't just correcting a historical mistake. It's unlocking a richer, more complex human story. The knowledge of transformation, both of matter and spirit, survived invasions, slavery, and centuries of erasure. Now it's rising again. If this journey has changed the way you see history, you've experienced your own small act of alchemy. Subscribe, support this exploration, and help uncover the ancestral wisdom that can inspire the future. Comment below. Which African innovation do you think holds the key to solving modern challenges?